Hi everybody, welcome back. So I have a new product to show off here. I bought a new wet palette through a Kickstarter, and this is the wet palette case itself. It's from Game Envy, and it's their premier wet palette system. And I thought I'd just do a real quick review of the things that I got in the Kickstarter, and then also do a little test with it, and we'll see how it works, okay, in case you're interested. First of all, nice hard case. It's got some good locks on it. All right. There's the top, the inside of the top. There's the tray itself. Nice, solid, thick. Doesn't seem to warp. So that's pretty good. On the top itself, one thing that's kind of nice, which you don't see on too many wet palettes, is it's got a little breathing hole in here, so you can actually lift this up to allow some air into it. So if it's those of you who use wet palettes, sometimes you'll notice if you've got too much water in it, your paint will run. It'll get really soft and it'll end up soaking up too much water and running. This will help with bleeding off some of that water, allowing some air in there to dry it out just a little bit. So that's pretty good. You don't see that too often. Also in the top, it has, if I can open it, it also has this little tray. It has this removable spot here. So you can put paint in here, a little mixing well, little ridges to lay a brush down, but it also has this little tray, and I'll show you in a minute, but it has a little sponge, sponge-like item. I don't think it's an actual sponge, but that you can use to blot your paintbrush off on. Okay, so there's that. I don't know if I'll ever use that, but it's there. It also came with the sponge itself and paper. I have not opened these yet. In fact, this just showed up in the mail the other day. The initial package comes with, let me see if I can get these things out without pulling the whole thing apart. Gonna have to pull it all apart. Okay. It comes with a paper. It's a little thicker than some of the other ones I've seen, but not nearly as thick as the Masterson paper that I use for my other wet palette, which I picked up at an art supply store. So we'll see how that works. Sponge itself, not too really. Doesn't seem to be anything really all that interesting with the sponge. We'll have to try it out, and I will do a video. I'll get all of it set up. I'll get everything in there, put some paint on it, and see how that goes. I ended up getting a second set of paper and sponges. What I'm hoping is I have, where'd it go? Hold on one second. I have this wet palette, which I purchased, and it's the Everlasting wet palette. I couldn't remember who had made it. Redgrass Games. This thing is a piece of crap. I really dislike this. They had a great idea, but you'll notice you can't even open the damn thing. It seals so tight. You almost can't. Hold on a second, guys. There we go. Good Lord. All right. So So here's the tray. Here's their sponge. Obviously, it's dry. One thing about this tray, hey, you saw how tight it closed, right? I mean, it really seals. But this sponge, once it gets wet, stinks horribly. It's just the Red Grass Game sponge is just yuck. When you open it and you almost want to close it immediately because it stinks so freaking bad. And I use distilled water in my wet pallets, right? So I'm not using tap water. So there should be no minerals or anything like that in the distilled water. So you shouldn't get that kind of odor. So whatever that odor is coming from the sponge. I hate this thing. Anyway, all right. So also with it came a couple of these items. Open this up to show you guys. So on the instructions, when you do this, there's a little scraper. So once you finally get the sponge in there, you put some water on it, you put the paper on it, then you use this to smooth the paper out to get all the air bubbles out of it, right, and make it nice and smooth. And like I said, I'll show this in the video once I get everything set up. Little business card. This is that, this is that little sponge so that the paint tray that I showed you, you cut this up a little bit and you put it into that. It's a little dabbing sponge for your paint brushes. Now the odor that I was telling you about with that other one, this is a little whatever. It's supposed to keep the smell down in the tray itself. So, yeah, we'll see how that works. All right, you put this in, stick it to the bottom. It's actually got a little sticky part on it. Stick it to the bottom. Excuse me. And then smooth it out so there's no air bubbles in it. Put the sponge on top, put the water on, put the paper on, and then you go from there. And it's supposed to reduce any odors or anything like that within the tray. So we'll see how that works. And then what else do we get here? Oh, we got a nice little sticker. A little sticker. We'll add those to my laptop at work. So that's that. And then also, because I got in on it, I also got these phalanx nylon brushes. So I have to give these a shot. There's a couple of nice sizes in there. We'll see how well they stand up. And then they give you this little pop-up rinse cup. And that was one of the things that came with the Kickstarter. A little rinse cup. I'll have to see if it actually will. It doesn't seem like it'll fall over, but we'll see what happens. So stick around. I'm going to put all this together and I'll show you step by step how it went. Okay? Talk to y'all soon. Okay, folks, I'm back. Got set up to be able to show you how to set this up, and we'll kind of take it for a test drive a little bit. All right, so I have the sponge, one of the pieces of paper. I have that antimicrobial strip. See, I got the word right this time. And our box. Over here for a second. So first things first, they want you, and this is our little scraper to get the air out. So first things first, they want you to put this, I can actually unpeel it, there we go. I want you to put this in the bottom of the tray. They want it nice and smooth, make sure there's no air bubbles. So we did that. Okay. Nice and easy. Oops, sorry, hit the camera. Hit it again. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Sorry, don't hate me. Okay, sponge goes in. The instructions say that you can't put 2 sponges in depending on how much moisture you want to have in here. I'm only going to use one, only because I don't know, exactly how this is going to work. So I'm going to just test this with 1 sponge. The instructions say that you can put in 2. All right, and then use it that way. So I'm going to assume that it is going to hold a lot more moisture and water in that sense, which will make your wet palette even more damp. So maybe if you've got really thick paint, that might be a good idea. I don't know what other reason you would do it that way, but it's there. It's an option. Here is my distilled water. And it says to pour some of this in here. Make sure it's fully covered. And I said also to allow just a little bit over the top for the paper. So we'll see how this works. Get that down before I spill it. Now it does say when you lay this in, the paper will curl up initially on the edges until it completely soaks up. Yeah, there we go. That's kind of what it's doing. I said with a clean hand or this, start from the center and work your way out, getting all of the air out of it so it's nice and flat. So we'll see how that works. And then the instructions did say once the paper gets fully wet, the sides should not curl anymore. I don't like how it's moving, so I'm going to shift it a little bit back so it's a little bit more center. But there we go. I think yeah. All right. Got my towel over here for a second. And it says once this is wet, and I don't know, it looks like we got enough of the air out. I don't know. Again, this is all trial and error, folks. You're seeing me do this for the first time, so we'll have to see what happens. All right. Then it says to pour out the excess water and just leaving a little bit in the bottom of it for the sponge. I use my little handy dandy cup over here. Try to pour this out without spilling it. Pour some of that out, leave some of it in there. That there. Okay, now let's grab some paint. Grab some paint. I have a little vortex mixer down here, so I'm gonna just mix this up. All right. All right, so far so good, huh? Okay. So that's the paint that I used. Just something to throw on it. Try it. Grab a brush. All right. Forgot one thing. add a little bit of water to this. All right, there we go. So there we are. So far so good. Looks like it spreads out really well. I like that. We'll have to see how. I'm gonna let this sit overnight. I'm gonna put the top back on it, come back to it tomorrow morning or tomorrow at some point, and we'll see if the paint runs. You know, if it's gotten too wet or whatever the case may be. So we'll see how that goes. So here we are. That was step 2, setting everything up. Then we'll give it a shot tomorrow. All right, talk to y'all later. Bye. Hey everybody, we're back. It's a day later from when I started putting this together, so I thought I'd wrap this up. And let's see what the paint looks like after sitting for a day. Uh-oh. It definitely ran. Now, it could be that everything was just a little bit too wet. A little bit too much moisture in there, maybe. I did leave this open. But, well, not too bad, I guess. Have to kind of play with the amount of moisture on the sponge. Well, we'll have to see. Have to see how that works. Overall, it's nice. It opens up really easily. Yeah, this is about the only part of this that I don't like. I know with when I'm using this one, I can pretty much avoid this for a couple of days before it does this. And because with this, I can really control how much water's in on the sponge here. But yeah, overall, yeah, we'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot, see what happens with it. We'll start painting a little bit more on the monk, the happy monk. We'll do the acrylic base. We'll use this for that, and we'll see how it goes. So I hope everybody enjoyed this little review of the Exemplar wet palette system from Game Envy Creation. So there you go. Hey, hope everybody's doing well, and please like, share, comment on the video. I'd like to thank all of my subscribers for tuning in, and also to my new subscribers. I hope you like the content here. It will be varied. I do a lot of different things, so hopefully you'll like everything that you see. And to all my old subscribers, again, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't thank you enough for sticking around and liking what I do here. Again, everybody have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye.